David said, my name is Raymond Savage. I work at the NTNU University Museum at Trondheim. It's one of the regional archaeological museums in Norway. In the last 2 years, I have been participating in a project where we have done photogrammetry on a site with painted rock art. I will talk a little bit about that now. The site where we have done is at Hundhammer. Painted rock art sites are known in various locations in Norway. We have painted cave art, and we also have these exposed rock art sites in both coastal and inland regions. One of the more famous sites in the middle part of Norway is called Hundhammer. It's located at the Tingvoll County in Møre og Romsdal region, central part of Norway. The rock art at Hundhammer is situated in a dramatic landscape with several steep cliffs and rock shelters above the Tingvoll fjord. Around 30 panels with painted rock art are known in these two areas, known as Hundhammerneset and Hinna, both known as Hundhammer. The panels are located on several levels from 10 to 30 meters above sea level. Considering shoreline displacement in this area, the maximum age for the sites is placed between 3,000 and 8,000 BP, according to each panel's height. However, the variations in height and motif variations indicates that there are no absolute correlation between each panel's height and the age of the actual panel. So a little bit history on this site. In the 1990s, alarming reports were made considering the state of preservation for several rock art sites across Norway. Among these were Hundhammer. Eventually, this resulted in the establishing of the National Rock Art Project, deriving from the National Cultural Heritage Management, Riksantikvaren, and working with regional museums and Norwegian Institute for Cultural Heritage and several partners. A central part of the project was documentation and preservation work. In this project, Hundhammer was subjected to several investigations in the following years. The surveys showed that several of the sites were badly damaged from both human interaction and especially through natural processes such as frost weathering, descaling of the surfaces, and biological activity. In these pictures, which we see here, we can see a badly damaged cross-shaped painting. The problem is descaling of the natural surface patina of the rock due to a combination of biological activity and frost weathering. The picture on the left, it's to point. Okay, picture on the left and right is recorded with an interval of 10 years. And as we can see in the picture of the right, that's most recent, several pieces has fallen off. And it's still continuing. Several attempts have been made to stop these natural processes at Hundhammer. The main attempt has been to find a way to consolidate the rock surface through stone conservation techniques. Several attempts has been made without intervening with actual rock art, without finding an adequate method. There's even been one unauthorized attempt made with epoxy glue, which you can see here. This example, a consolidation test was performed directly on the pigments of the cross, which I saw you earlier. And actually the test has lived, here is before, and that's a little bit later, and that's last year. The conservation test has led to more cracking and descaling of this petroglyph. In conclusion, it is probable that there is not, we are not able to develop methods that stop these natural degradations of these sites. We must accept that some sites will be lost in the near future, 50 years, 100 years, we don't know. A consequence of this development is that we now have to focus on developing documentation strategies that give us the best possible record of the rock's art, thus making it possible to preserve the sites in an archive form for future generations and research. Oh, that's too far. Okay, so there we go. The aim of our project. Considering the above mentioned factors, a project has been established at the NTNU University Museum to develop a method for making a full three-dimensional documentation of several of these sites at Hunammer. The aim is to make complete three-dimensional models of the site, which incorporates both the three-dimensional structure of the site and preserves information about the color pigment. In addition, we would like to explore if it's possible to preserve such information for future generations using established archival infrastructures at the Norwegian regional archaeological museums. My aim doing this project was to apply a methodology that would make it possible to preserve both 3D information and color pigmented information from the painted panels. So field work was carried out in 2014 on 2 panels at Hunammer. We were also there last year, but I will talk about the 2014 season. To reach our aims, I applied the following methods, shown in simplified form in this figure. Overlapping photos with recording using a Sony QX100 digital camera, following the usual recording procedures for digital photogrammetry. To reach all areas of the subjected panels, the camera was supported on a 7-meter lightweight carbon fiber pole and remotely controlled using an iPhone. For obtaining coordinate systems for georeferencing and optimizing image alignment later, several ground control marks on the edge of the panels was recorded using a total station. Image and coordinates were processed in Photoscan, producing high-resolution surface models. These models was first textured from the original photos in Photoscan. Later, we exported the textures from Photoscan for further manipulation, and we decided to use a program, an application called D-Stretch, which is a plugin for ImageJ, which is an open source image processing software. D-Stretch is a tool for rock art research which enhances images of pictographs. D-Stretch works by using decorrelation stretching techniques, which is an image technique to enhance subtle color differences in a picture. It has been developed for remote sensing from satellite images originally. D-Stretch supports several different color spaces. So you can, it works with color spaces that you not usually use in programs like Photoshop. Afterwards, we used these manipulated textures to retexturize the 3D models using Photoscan. Okay. So, fieldwork was carried out 2014 September. The first panel we visited is a small rock shelter with several deer geometric patterns and 3 carved boat figures. Using the said equipment, we recorded overlapping photographs along with 8 reference marks. The processed image resulted in a high-resolution model with around 170 points per square centimeters. This example is a snapshot of the finished model with the original texture from the original photographs. Using D-Stretch, we were able to manipulate the exported texture and import it back to retexturize in Photoscan. This example shows a snapshot of the finished model with manipulated textures using color space LXX in D-Stretch. Comparing with the unmanipulated model, the pigments are now much more visible and shows weak and fainted pictograms, which could not be observed on original model. Comparing with earlier tracings from these sites, from 2000 in the middle, and on the top it's a tracing from 1939 made by Guttorm Jessing. We have areas so it shows that most elements that has been traced is visible on the manipulated model. We also have areas on the right-hand side of the panel which contains pictograms of our model which are not present in the 2000 middle tracings. Some of these pigments are visible at Jessing's, the top tracing, which suggests pigments have faded but is still present when using color manipulation. So next site we visited. Panel 3 is a vertical exposed cliff with 4 fish figures, probably salmon. The site was recorded in the same manner as the previous site and resulted in a very similar model in both quality and accuracy. In this picture we see a snapshot of the texturized model using original colors. And we see the fish figures in the lower part. I can't see them. We do not see any other rock art on the panel. So this is after manipulation. This example shows a snapshot of the finished model with manipulated texture using color space LXX in D-Stretch. By comparison, in the model with manipulated colors in D-Stretch, several vertical lines with red pigments is visible. Also, the fish figure stands out much clearer. We do not know what these vertical lines represent. One possibility is that they may represent fishing lines. We do not know. Comparing with a 2012 tracing, we see the same degree of details. However, in addition, we see the mentioned vertical lines. This probably indicates that pigments have faded over the years. Fortunately, we were able to reproduce these faded lines using D-Stretch. Okay. For both sites, we had good results producing high-resolution models of both panels and rock surfaces. The alternative to using Photoscan would be other 3D scanning methods, most probably laser scanning. Several factors should be observed when choosing the preferred methods for these type of documentations. First of all, photogrammetry using digital camera and photoscan is very cost efficient and relatively straightforward. Laser scanning equipment costs several times more and represent high investment costs for the museums. In addition, photogrammetry through photoscan preserve color information from documented surfaces. This process is simultaneous with the 3D generating process. The test carried out at Hunamed shows that it's possible to use this information from photoscan to enhance pigment variations in rock art panels. Using D-stretch, it was possible to enhance pigment variations not visible to the naked eye. By re-importing these manipulated textures, it was possible to evaluate the whole panel in 3D with all visual pigments at hand. When considering traditional tracing, the proposed process is a lot more efficient in both accuracy and time spent on site. Tracing is dependent on what we can observe by the naked eye, and one is dependent on several factors, especially weather. The process also involves cutting large sheets of foil, scanning them, downscaling and tracing. This can be time-consuming. In addition, the end result is a flat 2D representation of a 3D surface. Digital photogrammetry and color manipulation was much less time-consuming and required fewer steps to reach the end result. In addition, the accuracy is much greater. The panel 3D information is preserved and weak and visible pigments is included, thus representing a total documentation of the panel. So, I will try to start summing up. Three-dimensional documentation has been seen as a method to close the gap between in situ preservation and ex situ preservation through archives. However, if the results of these methods is to be considered a long-term ex situ preservation of the panels, it is important to consider archival file formats and the available long-term digital archival infrastructure. The Norwegian regional archaeological museums have a responsibility to preserve ex situ information from archaeological sites in the regions. The current national databases run by these museums have the framework to store basic archival file formats, PDF, TIFFs, and so on. The file format of 3D models cannot be stored within this framework. Also, we do not know if these formats will be supported in the future. There is no current international standard for storing 3D information. At the moment, our solution is to archive the original digital photos together with georeference information and processing metadata. This will make it possible to rerun the same process in the future, recreating the same model. However, I think it is important to consider developing archival standards for preserving readily available three-dimensional information. To close the gap between in situ and ex situ preservation, we should be able to store finished models which can be readily opened for viewing by any person interested without the technical knowledge to process the raw material. I think I will stop there. Møre og Romsdal region, central part of Norway. The rock art at Hunamed is situated in a dramatic landscape with several steep cliffs and rock shelters above the Tingvoll fjord. Around 30 panels with painted rock art are known in these two areas. We also have these exposed rock art sites in both coastal and inland regions. One of the more famous sites in the middle part of Norway is called Hunammer. It's located at the Tingvoll County. In a bit about that now. The site where we have done is at Hunammer. Painted rock art sites are known in various locations in Norway. We have painted cave art and David said, my name is Raymond Savage. I work at the NTNU University Museum at Trondheim. It's one of the regional archaeological museums in Norway. And in the last 2 years, I have been participating in a project where we have done photogrammetry on a site with painted rock art. I will talk a little bit